Welcome to the Team Lawson channel. I'm Theresa.
I'm Mike.
And we're Millennials and we're making it. On our channel, we discuss all things that meet within the intersection of millennial marriage and special needs parenting.
We want to create a community that's both inclusive and encouraging.
So go ahead and hit that subscription button and help us reach our goal to making it to 1,000 subscriptions before the end of the year.
Also, don't forget to smash that like button so you can let the algorithm know you think we're awesome.
Okay, so today we're going to do an In the News video where we cover all things millennial marriage and special needs parenting that we've seen across in the news. And the one that I want to talk about, am I going first or you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, the one that I want to talk about first is hilarious. Okay, this says, London man puts up billboard ads in hope of finding wife. Save me from arranged marriage. So this man in the UK has taken out billboards across, or I think it's just one. No, they're plural. He's put out multiple billboard ads because he doesn't specifically want to have an arranged marriage. He's Muslim, late 20s. He's not in a position where he feels like he's about to be forced to be married. He just kind of wants to find a wife first. And he thought the best way to do that would be to put up a billboard that connects to a website that he created to find a potential spouse. Thoughts?
It's the same thing.
What?
Well, in my opinion, what's the difference?
Well, I guess in his mind, he's finding a wife and like he's going to like date her at least a little while to figure out if that's the one. So no, it's not the same thing. In an arranged marriage, like in a traditional arranged marriage, your parents, the parents of the two people who are going to get married, find each other and they put their children together, and their children don't really have a whole lot of say in it. The parents are like, hey, this is a good one for you, right? In more modern traditional marriage, like the people getting married have a little more say in it, and there's sometimes, I forget what they're called in Jewish and in Muslim culture, they have these professional people who put together profiles of men and women, and the parents go to them and try to look through the profiles to find somebody that they feel like they would be good for their child. And sometimes the actual person will go to the professional to try to find somebody. But like, no, it's not the same. I think he wants to date these women. Or date the woman that he picked to see if... And I think in most arranged marriages, there's a dating period, and Orthodox Jewish... arranged marriages, like, it is seen as inappropriate to have more than a handful of dates. Like, you should... Your face, you should know if you're going to marry them after like 4 or 5 dates. You shouldn't let it go on for months and months at a time. He didn't say the specifics of how he was going to pick the woman, at least not in the article. But yeah, I thought this was absolutely hilarious. But also, is it that bad out there trying to find somebody to marry? If you want to get married?
A lot of people ain't trying to get married.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Not a lot of people, but a growing majority of people are, especially in their 20s, because this guy's in his late 20s, especially in their 20s, aren't thinking about marriage. They're pushing it off till 30s, to really think about marriage. I don't think it's a bad idea. What? The billboard?
No.
Or pushing off marriage?
Pushing it off.
I think we're just in a generation where, like, we don't have to be married. Before, you kind of had to be married. Like, if you wanted to have sex, if you really wanted to build a life, if you wanted to be taken seriously in a career, if you were a man, you needed a wife. If you wanted to have a place to live that wasn't your parents' home and have a bank account, you needed a husband. That's just not the case for us now. We don't have to be married to live a productive life as an adult. And I think more people are choosing not to. And I think some people are partnering and just not marrying until later, too.
I'm looking at it from a different standpoint.
What?
I wasn't looking at it from that. I think it's a good way to get yourself together.
True.
You know, financially, from a stability standpoint, mental standpoint. I mean, it's a lot.
Do your own personal work, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot that going on.
And I don't think you can be. I still think there's a lot of work that you're going to have to do after you get married, right? Like, I don't want people to think that you're gonna set aside this time to get married, to get financially stable, and to get emotionally stable and spiritually stable. Set aside this time, and then when I get married, will it help? Sure. Will it be all that you have to do? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. There's still a ton of work left to do when you get married. Because now I think being married brings out some of the things that need to be worked on in you personally. And I think that it's almost like parenting. There's no real way to really prepare it for it because you've never done it before.
Right.
What's yours?
So the world's strongest man has autism.
Really?
Yeah. His brother placed 7th. He placed 1st. He beat out. He's from Scott.
What's he strongest in? Like, how do they tell that he's the world's strongest man?
Oh, you know you never seen the world's strongest man competition? Where they
there's a competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
The world's strongest man competition, and he came in number 1.
Really? How old is he?
He's 27, I believe, and he
verbal or not verbal?
He verbal.
Okay.
He verbal. He thought growing up, he thought we were the ones not normal, and he was normal.
I think that is a perfect perspective to have.
But this man
I'm sure Macy thinks we're pretty weird sometimes.
This man lifted 463 pounds over his head.
Really?
To get the title.
Yeah. Did he always know he was autistic, or did he?
Yeah, when he was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade, he told his friends that, look, I'm high school 1.
Oh, okay.
He told his friends he was autistic, and they said they weren't going to treat him no different.
And
now, I guess that helped him.
That makes me happy.
From what I read, it kind of, it helped him out. I think it helped him out socially. Mm-hmm. To know that people accept him, with autism and things of that nature.
I think that is by and large the consensus. Like, all of us are different and unique in our own ways, and I don't think autism is an exception to that. Like, and so in general, we want to be accepted for all our idiosyncrasies, no matter where they come from.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
I have to get back to it. Hold on. So, this may be controversial, but an experimental drug may help with noisy brain, that's in quotes, in some with autism. So there is an overlap in the autism community of individuals who have what's called sensory processing disorder. And not everyone with autism struggles with this as much as some. And then there are some people who have sensory processing disorder who aren't typically autistic. But sensory processing disorder means that you have difficulty with filtering out, you experience your senses more intensely and severe as other people. And so fabric, sound, smells, lights, all of it kind of overloads your senses at one time, right? And so places that are really bright, really noisy, really smelly are almost an assault on your senses. Think about the grocery store. You walk in, you have the deli and the bakery and all those smells. You have the noise of the register, the conversations of the people, the extra bright lights, all of that attacking your senses, and then you have to finish and focus on a task, whether it's be a good kid for mom and dad or actually go grocery shopping as an adult. And so they have discovered a drug that helps out the GABA receptors and helps people with autism, autism's brain function in a way that doesn't have their senses overloaded. And it was a very small study, I think 15 autistic and 29 neurotypical people. And they did brain scans before and after the medication. And so the scans showed that people with autism who took the medication, their brains responded to stimuli, sensual stimuli, in the same way as neurotypical people did. And so for those who really struggle with sensory overload, this could be like game-changing if it's something that actually works in mass or large. It could also be very controversial, especially for the segment of the autism community that doesn't particularly vibe with therapy or anything that would change their autism. And a lot of times they struggle in ways that are different than people who may not be what's the word? They don't use that when you have who they struggle different than people who have intellectual disability, who have different comorbidities that make physical and mental acuity more difficult. What do you think? A drug to help the senses.
Now, how do you come up with a drug for that?
So we sense things through our brain. And so it's no different than an anxiety medication or an ADHD medication that helps our brain to sense things more typically so that it is not as difficult for the person with the brain.
I would like to see how it works.
How it works is they figured out what receptors are responsible for sensing things. The GABA receptors. What?
I'm saying I want to see it in person. Like, I want to see.
The brain scans aren't enough for you. You want to see somebody who struggles take the medication and not struggle.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're working towards, a study in mass. Did they name the drug? Because I don't know if it's a new drug or if they're using an older drug differently, which they often do. It's an experimental drug, so that says to me new. Arbaclofen.
Don't worry about it.
Arbaclofen? Arboclofen.
We're just going to call it the A drug.
And it modifies levels of GABA in the brain, which is a chemical that binds with the GABA receptors and is responsible for how we sense things. I'm all for it. Just like I'm all for ADHD medicine, anxiety medication. I think it's one of those things, just like with ADHD and anxiety and depression medication, you kind of have to weigh the pros and the cons. I haven't taken a medication that doesn't have some sort of side effect, right? And so what are the side effects? Is it worth it in a child, Because Macy has taken some medication and she's not on it now because most of the time the side effects just aren't worth it. It's just not. We just have to find some alternative way to manage whatever behavior or symptoms we're dealing with. But I think for some people this would be game changing because there are a lot of autistic adults who are more independent, who really struggle with life tasks, not because of being capable. It's just that we live in a world that's not catered for people who have sensory issues. So maybe turning off the music or turning down the music in the restaurant would be helpful, but most restaurants aren't going to do that. Like if you go to a bar, if you go to a sports bar on game day, it's going to be bright, it's going to be loud, it's going to be maybe smoky. No, we're not smoking inside anymore, are we?
Oh,
no, that's illegal. That's illegal. We're not smoking inside anymore. But that kind of stuff, as an adult being able to participate in more of life, I can see that being really game changing for people. But I don't know. I don't have any trouble going to the grocery store, says my wallet. What's the next one?
Mother says autistic son was denied a haircut at a Great Clips in, get this, Brownstown Township, Michigan. Her son was denied a haircut because he had a meltdown in the chair. Oh yeah, that's gonna happen with kids that get haircuts. I need backstory. So has this kid gotten a haircut before there? I would assume he has. He has a very high-pitched cry when he does not want to do something. I do have to take him from level 10 to 5 and then from 5 to 3. I would assume...
Just read the article and then we'll cut out.
The mother of 3 said instead of being...
Oh, he was 3 years old. Okay.
No, he was 5. He was 5.
He's 5. Okay.
Yeah, given time and space to calm herself down, she was disrespectfully told to leave. She didn't let him sit down. She didn't give him a chance to calm down. She blatantly told me that she was not cutting his hair.
Okay. So the way that woman handled it was just wrong. She shouldn't have handled it that way. But like, I need backstory. Like, we have a 5-year-old going to a barber. Is this the first haircut? Is this the first time he's gotten his hair cut? Is this his first haircut professionally? Like, I think as parents of children with autism, I'm not saying this woman did not do her due diligence. We don't have the background. But I think we have to know what our children can handle.
Yeah, he got his haircut done before.
Oh, has he gotten a haircut cut with her before? Or is it one of the places where you just go in around the barber? I don't know. I don't get haircuts. Ooh, my hands swollen.
So she said he got his haircut twice before at that location, and the hairstylist usually works around it.
Was it a different hairstylist? I think...
It don't say.
Okay. It probably was, if it's one of those, like, supercuts kind of places where you just kind of go in.
It sounds like one.
Yeah. So... Without knowing, so I, as a mother of a female Black girl with autism, there are certain things that I just do differently than maybe not all autistic parents do. I expect people to treat my child unkindly. We rarely have run into that instance. But that's what I expect from people. I don't expect people to understand her autism, to understand how she reacts, or to treat her with compassion and kindness. I don't expect that from people. That is awful, but that's just the truth. I planned for people not understanding, for people giving me pushback. This is probably not healthy, but it's the truth. And so when I go into a situation where I know my child is going to have difficulty and may have a meltdown, I kind of... I try to overplan ahead of time so as to avoid the rude and negative people in the world. And so that for me would be calling ahead and being like, look, this is my child. I may even send them a list of tips or working with a specific stylist. I know she has 3 kids, so like she's probably just trying to go and get it done on that day. Kids need haircuts. Some school requires specific lengths or whatever. But like, because my child is autistic, like I would probably try to take special care to make sure that my kid had the same experience every time. And so that would mean more work on my part. But like, I would also expect that somebody's gonna be nasty and ugly, even if I do all that. So, like, the way the stylist responded was just absolutely wrong. Like, if you have a parent telling you, I can help you get him calm, just give us a minute, right? Like, allow for that. Like, will that haircut take longer? Absolutely. You have a child with special needs in your chair. And as a company, you have to accommodate. There are certain laws, federal laws, even that was in Canada or Michigan? Michigan. In the United States, like if I call and say, hey, I have a child with special needs that's coming to get a haircut, you as a barbershop have to prepare for that. And you can't refuse a haircut just because the child is exhibiting behavior, especially if the parent can get them calm. Like you can't cut a child hair who's flailing around. It's not safe. But if the parent is saying I can get them calm, like you as a company have to. Like it's illegal. It's discriminatory for you not to. It's unfortunate for the kid because that child will remember that experience. And so it'll take a lot of really good haircuts for him to get over that. And that's hard for mom too, you know? Like she may have done all the things that I just said. And to do all of that and still come out with a negative experience on the other side. Yeah. What would you do if you're faced with that situation? I wouldn't Karen on her, because in the back of my mind, I'm calling the police and I'm suing all y'all. But like, I'm not gonna do that.
I don't know. I just take my business elsewhere. They ain't gotta worry about me seeing me or my child again.
Do you think that the barber should be fired?
I think whoever it is, they need to find a new line of work. I mean, if you can't. I
mean, I can imagine neurotypical kids behaving the exact same way. I don't think that has anything to do with autism, and so you just not gonna cut a kid's hair because they're having a hard time. Like I don't understand the reasoning in the barber's mind that like I said I need backstory.
She need to find.
Michael said she need a new job.
No, I'm not being funny when I say that.
I know
like,
you aren't.
You need to find a stay-at-home job or something like that, because outside of your home, no matter where you go, you're going to deal with somebody with a mental issue. You can go sell insurance. You're going to somebody gonna bring a child
or physical or any sort of disability.
I know
everybody, like it's a very ableist mindset to think that everybody's gonna be like you and approach situations just the way that you do. Everybody's different.
Yeah. So I mean, no matter what you do, you're gonna have somebody come in with a mental, physical, or something wrong with them. At
or
least one person.
not necessarily something wrong.
I mean, you get what I'm saying, though. You're going to have somebody come in with an issue. So you
even if it's just they're sad that day.
Yeah, I mean, you can't avoid that unless you find you a job.
Where you don't have to deal with any people.
Working at home. Or, you know, but either way, you're going to deal with somebody in society with a disability. That's life. And
it makes you really thankful for the people that dedicate their lives and their education to working with children with autism. Because, like, they have to go through so much. I remember one time dropping Macy off at school, and it was when she was just going to, that was when she first started. And there was one baby who did not want to go to school. He was having a hard time. And so there, in Louisiana, I don't think you're allowed to restrain children anymore. In school settings, but the therapy center that Macy goes to, they practice non-restraint. Like the goal is never to restrain a child, and so this baby was having a meltdown. He was on the ground, rolling around, thrashing, trying to bang his head against the glass and metal door, and so he had like literally these therapists and teachers placing their body in the way of anything that could hurt him. And that meant that he was banging against them. I'm just like, dang, I don't know if I could do that for somebody else's child. I'm sure that I could. But like, they literally went to school specifically to work with people who they knew were going to be having hard times a lot of the time. And so, that barber only had to do with that one child maybe once a month. I don't know how often kids get a haircut, but like...
Like I said, it was his third time, I guess, and that lady said she wasn't having it. So I know I wouldn't take my...
And it's very easy to take a child's behavior personally, but I think the most mature and emotionally developed thing you could do is recognize that when people are acting out, children are adults. When they're like, it's not you. Like, it's not... Unless you've been abusive towards them, it's not you. People just be having hard times. Yeah. But yeah, those are some interesting things in the news.
I would, now that I think about it, I probably would fire. No, because if I'm the owner of that barbershop...
She's made them liable.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Liable, like, that's a bad look on my shop. And
not just a bad look, it's liable. Like, you could be found financially responsible for damages.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think I would. You know, nothing personal, but I think...
It's business. You can't be coming in here treat people like that.
You can't do that. Yeah, I would fire. But let me go ahead and...
I see that one bothered you.
No, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me.
You sure?
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below, what would you do in some of these situations? Do you think the new medication is good? Would you fire this barber? Would you put up a billboard to find you a spouse? Comment down below.
What you think about the world's strongest man who has autism?
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
God bless you.